Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? As of now, and we are feverishly checking Twitter, etc., to make sure that we don't miss anything, but the waiver wire is closed. And we will know if Odell Beckham has cleared waivers. My assumption at this point, and you know what happens when you assume, is that at 3:04 Central Time, the fact that we haven't heard anything about Odell Beckham being claimed yet by a team is that he will have cleared waivers. The question is, if and when Odell clears waivers, which should be right now, what might he be thinking? There are a lot of rumored reports. We have heard San Francisco. We've heard New Orleans. We have heard Seattle. We have heard Green Bay. A lot of different spots. Some have even whispered about Tampa as a potential landing spot because why wouldn't Odell go to Tampa? Because everybody's going to Tampa right now. Last night, there was a Demario Davis event. It was the Demario Davis's Dining for Dreams charity fundraiser, and Quan Alexander was there. Quan Alexander, a college teammate of Odell's at LSU, and Dylan Sanders of the Reveille, the LSU student newspaper, was at the event and said that he joked with Quan about needing his help to get former teammate Odell Beckham to New Orleans. Quote, Quan Alexander, "I got you, bro. I'm trying my best. I really think we're trying to get him too." End quote. So that's a quote from Quan saying that he was out there working OBJ, try to get him to New Orleans. The news maybe not quite as great on this front. Jordan Schultz, someone we referenced last week, who I can't tell you that I know who he is, but he does have a verified Twitter account. He's on Twitter at Schultz_report. Said he's an insider and analyst with the Pull-Up Pod and some other things. This was a tweet from about 2 hours ago, about 90 minutes ago, as a matter of fact. He says, breaking, and he had the siren emoji as well, so it really tells you that that's breaking news. Breaking, Odell Beckham Jr. has prioritized the Packers as his number one destination should he clear waivers per sources. So that might make some sense, of course, there in Green Bay. Lost just their second game of the season this past weekend, of course, with no Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams is the absolute, no doubt, go-to number one, but they don't necessarily have a dominant number two. You've got Valdez-Scantling, you've got Lazard, you've got some options there in Green Bay, but nothing that would rival an Odell opposite what they have there with Devontae Adams. So maybe that makes a little bit of sense. You know, if you're the Saints, your sell is the fact that you don't have one of those guys, and you come and you are the number one. We mentioned that Seattle is another possibility lurking for Odell Beckham. Pete Carroll had his media availability on Monday and was asked about the possibility of Odell, and he was coy, to say the least.
You'll have to wait and see how this all goes. But at this time, I don't know. I've been on the practice field. I don't know what's going on with any. As you would think, we're aware of what's going on, and we've been involved to understand it and compete and to know what's happening. And we'll let you know as it all happens.
So basically,
so I didn't say yes or I didn't say no, but that's just because you'll see.
Basically said a lot without saying anything at all. By the way, this is breaking now as I look up here on the ticker at ESPN. Odell Beckham, breaking news, did go unclaimed on waivers, and he is officially a free agent. This is expected. Odell, for a team to have put a waiver claim in on Odell, they would have had to owe him $7.25 million for the remainder of this season. And remember, that would only be for the remainder of this season, not the remainder of his contract. So if someone put a waiver claim in on Odell, they would have had to pay him north of $7 million just for the remainder of this season with no guarantee that they'd have him for next year. So the teams that would be interested in Odell Beckham naturally would go to him and say, look, here's what we can pitch you. And you make a play for him at a more reasonable rate and see if you can get him at a discount. So that's what these teams will do. And you better believe that the New Orleans Saints are going to be in that mix. The New Orleans Saints are a team that's going to be on the phone calling Odell Beckham immediately. You know the story by now. There is no Michael Thomas for the entirety of this season, and the Saints' wide receiving room is as weak as it has been during the Sean Payton era. I do not even think that's debatable, because throughout the Payton era, you have had go-to receivers. be it Marcus Colston throughout time, of course, Michael Thomas here of late. You've had viable receiving options, and the Saints just don't have it now. I like a lot of the guys in the Saints receiving room. I like Deontay Harris. I like what Marquez Callaway can be as an NFL receiver. I like even Juwan Johnson in that hybrid tight end role. I like a lot of these guys that can be productive pass catchers for this offense. I don't like any of the guys I just mentioned as a number one. Because when you're lined up opposite another team's number one cornerback, there is going to be rarely a day where you have the advantage. That's not being rude. That's just being factual. I like Marquez Callaway as a number 3. I like Deontay Harris as a speedy slot guy that can give you 4 catches a game. I don't like Deontay Harris as the guy that's leading your team with 46 yards per game. Speaking of Deontay Harris, we learned on Monday that Deontay Harris's case for DUI is now closed. He was sentenced to a year of probation following his offseason arrest for DUI. This is relevant, because, especially timely, because the NFL, when they signed their new CBA in 2020, the NFL and the PA, agreed to extend first-time suspensions for DUI arrests to 3 games rather than 2. So under the CBA, and this happened last year with Kareem Jackson, under the CBA, now that this case is closed with Deontay Harris, at any time, the NFL could step in and choose to suspend Deontay Harris for 3 games. That would effectively take the guy that is your leading receiver now off the field. You are in a complete void of receiving options. It's why, if you're the Saints, you have to go hard after Odell. I'm preaching to the choir. We all know this. Whatever your pushback is against that idea, he's a diva, he's a prima donna, he's a locker room killer, who cares? It's for the remainder of a season for right at $1 million. If he blows it up, who cares? You're not going anywhere without him anyway. So make that push. And maybe he chooses somewhere else. Maybe Odell says, I'm going to go play in Green Bay and catch passes from one of the greatest to ever do it in Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to play opposite Devontae Adams because I know they're going to have to, defense are going to have to pick. And if they roll their coverage to him, I'm going to get one-on-ones. I'm going to be catching passes from Aaron Rodgers. That's a much better option than catching passes from Trevor Siemian in New Orleans. Not a bad thought. I wouldn't blame him for that if that became his objective. But I think New Orleans has a case to be made and a pretty sweet sell, a pitch that can be made to Odell Beckham. Will he buy? Oh, we'll find out in short order. Odell Beckham has cleared waivers. Now he is an unrestricted free agent, can sign anywhere. And the Saints certainly are going to be a team in the mix. If we find out news throughout the show today, we'll let you know. If it's until tomorrow, we'll let you know that as well. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.